Moon Studios CEO Thomas Mahler has shared his opinion on some of the writing and dialogue that he has seen from Dragon Age the Veilguard, describing it as, quote, infantile and terrible. Wrote this up over at thatparkplace.com. You can find the link in the description below. You can also find a link to become a member of the channel and help support me in what I am doing here. This is what Thomas Mahler said in a post to X. He wrote this: I grew up in the 80s. Even as a young boy back then, I always thought TV shows were low effort trash because every show back then was trying to be as politically correct as possible. Every show is about happy families, always trying to paint a perfect picture, always being careful not to talk about anything that could be in the slightest controversial. Then The Simpsons and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air dropped, and that stuff suddenly felt radical because every now and then the writers on these shows dared to approach subjects that were real. And whenever they tried that, it resulted in episodes that were memorable. I'd like to think it's because the writers managed to put some of their own experiences in there. Then in the late 90s, The Sopranos dropped, and suddenly it was clear that TV shows didn't have to be trash, that the episodic format could actually be used to give even more insight into characters, their trials and tribulations, etc. And it kept going from that point on. We saw more and more TV shows that delivered excellent drama like The Wire, Breaking Bad, etc. He then turned his attention to Dragon Age the Veilguard and video games, saying, looking at games now, it's clear to see that we're apparently moving back to the Stone Age of political correctness. I just watched a Dragon Age playthrough, and it's quite unfathomable how infantile and terrible the writing is. Everything feels sanitized and dehumanized. That is some extremely strong criticism here from Thomas Mahler regarding Dragon Age Veilguard. He says, I don't know why we're suddenly thinking that this is okay. Your job as a writer is to write about things that are heartfelt, interesting, and true. That is a big point right there. Things that are true. It is absolutely something that J.R. Tolkien talks about in his essay on fairy stories, where he talks about finding that eucatastrophe, that hint of evangelium that leads people to the truth. I think that is extremely important when you're talking about stories. Thomas Mahler pointing that out here, whether he realizes it or not. But he does say stories that are, or write about things that are heartfelt, interesting, and true to draw people into that world that you created. And if this is the best that you can come up with, you shouldn't be a writer in the first place. Thomas Mahler putting Patrick Weeks, I think is his name, on notice. He's the head story lead over there at BioWare. Mahler continues saying, I hate to sound so harsh because I'm sure these people have the best intentions in mind, but this is what happens when art is created by amateurs. When we have to walk on eggshells and don't dare to approach difficult subjects, you end up with a bland and bad product instead of art. 100% true there. Do not disagree with him at all. When you are not trying to find the truth, you are not creating art. That is the truth right there. He goes on and says, always approach writing from a human angle first. Draw from your own experiences and dare to approach subjects that might seem risky, because often magic happens when we're okay with making ourselves vulnerable. So obviously some extremely harsh criticism from Thomas Mahler regarding Dragon Age the Veilguard, but also some constructive criticism, maybe informing them what they should be doing instead of what they created. What I've been saying all along is this game is a humiliation ritual. It's not even propaganda at this point. It's just them taking the toy that was Dragon Age, pooping all over it, and then attempting to get you to buy a toy that has been pooped on, and then basically laughing at you, pointing at you, mocking you, humiliating you for saying, look how stupid and dumb you are that you bought this toy that we pooped on. How humiliating is that for you? But we've turned this on their head, right? We've absolutely refused to engage in this. We are saying, no, you can have that poopy toy, and we're going to laugh at you as you now have the poopy toy in your hands and you're stuck with it and you can't actually get rid of it. And what ends up happening is that poopy toy ends up causing them to lose their jobs, as we've seen over the past year. Lots of poopy toys causing people to lose their jobs. Concord, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League being the biggest two. And I think Dragon Age, Star Wars Outlaws are right up there with it. Mahler's not the only one to criticize the game's dialogue and writing, though. Ex-user Sile put together a compilation of scenes from the game describing it as cringe and garbage. And it is. Let's just take a look at some of this right here. It's just absolutely awful.
I could kiss you right now. I'm going to kiss you right now.
Barely.
Like, so there's even like pausing and stuff like this. It's just absolutely jarring. No one talks like that. No one in Dragon Age talks like that. It just completely drops you out of the immersion of the scene. It just seems fake and shows that these people have absolutely no experience whatsoever when it comes to romance.
Even wearing a shirt.
So what I wear is a problem for you?
It's not. It's just, why dress like that? Are you trying to make your mother happy? It's just something my mother said the other day. And I act more like a man than a woman. I am not.
Like, this stuff is so ham-fisted. They're trying to force discussions about how people dress. And then obviously we're getting into some of the gender political ideology that they have been injecting into this game from the very beginning. It's all ham-fisted. None of it really makes any sense in the setting. And it's just absolute cringe and garbage, as Sile says.
Not my mother. It feels right when she says I act more like a man. It feels right. Why does it feel right?
Do you like?
Notice how they have to have Tosh say like it feels right multiple times. They have to have her say it multiple times because they know it's not right. They know it's wrong, and they're lying to you over and over again to try and reinforce the lie. I mean, just absolute disgusting stuff here, and it's just terrible. It's absolutely terrible, and you're subjected to this trash.
Being a woman?
Nobody likes being a woman.
Oh. If something about being a woman is hurting you.
And not feeling comfortable in their own skin. As a man, as a woman.
Oh my God.
Turn her into something blighted and ugly and wrong. Something she was never supposed to be.
They don't even know what they're saying right there.
I can't even be a woman, right? Are you trying to have sex with me? So I'm non-binary.
You don't even need the laugh track is great, but I mean, geez, I mean, you can't make this stuff up. It's so absolutely terrible. It is absolutely terrible, and this is why Thomas Mahler is calling this infantile and terrible, because that's what it is. It is absolutely infantile and terrible. This is the state of AAA gaming storytelling at BioWare. There is a reason why EA took Star Wars: The Old Republic away from BioWare as well. I mean, this used to be one of the pinnacle of storytelling. This company used to be one of the pinnacles of storytelling when it came to video games. I mean, you look at KOTOR, you look at SWOTOR, you look at Mass Effect, and this is what it is now. It shows that you can keep the name of a company, but when you don't have the people that actually worked on this stuff, it's definitely not the same. It is not the same. Labor makes a huge, huge difference. The name of a company means nothing if the people that work there aren't there anymore. It's a different company.
Is it because I didn't fit as a woman? Is it why I don't fit as a woman?
Tosh.
The Shadow Dragons say there are people who use they instead of he or she. They're not men or women. And I like how it feels when I imagine myself that way.
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man.
All right, I've had enough of this. It's absolutely terrible. You can clearly see that it's just straight up trash. There is nothing redeeming about any of this stuff, and they are subjecting people to this. Asmongold also shared thoughts about the game's story. He said, personally, as somebody who came into the game, like I've never played Dragon Age before, this is my first game in the series, I thought it sucked. He then added, it wasn't bad, so it wasn't terrible, but it just kind of is not really that good. Later in his video, he said, I don't like the dialogue at all. And we just watched some of it, and it's really not that difficult to see how absolutely terrible that dialogue is. But this is where we're at now. This is what is the issue that is plaguing storytelling. I know Thomas Mahler doesn't mention it here, but he does kind of referenced it here. He talks about this move back to the Stone Age of political correctness. And that's exactly what it is. It's an adherence to woke ideology. And if you do not adhere to that woke ideology, you can't actually tell good stories. Because as Tolkien says, evil cannot create, it can only twist and warp. And woke ideology is evil. It cannot create. Instead, you just get this twisted abomination of Dragon Age that is now, as I said, a toy that has been pooped on. That is what it is. That's all it is, and that's all it can be, because it is being created by people with ill intent, pushing this evil ideology. It is being done to serve this evil ideology in all cases. There is nothing redeeming about this stuff whatsoever. Let me know what you guys make of this. Let me know in the comments below. Remember to always be charitable, especially to each other, and to always speak the truth.